show, and all I want to do today is talk about money. And let me even start by introducing myself. So, my name is Estefanas, and I am a financial freedom advocate. In other words, what I do is ensure that every single person around me, whether offline, online, my friends, my audience, my fans, each person has the ability to be financially free and not in under any sort of constraints or bondage or financial unease whatsoever. So yes, this show is totally dedicated to helping people to understand certain financial knowledge, how to generate wealth, how to grow wealth, and more importantly, it's supposed to be a fun show where people get to even win a couple of gifts here and there. So let's start out today properly. Once again, you're welcome to this show. Whew. So today I wanted to talk about something. So earlier in the day, I posted something on my WhatsApp status as against the general belief that money doesn't grow on trees, right? And what I wrote was money actually grows on trees, but it has to be planted first as a seed, which then leads me to what I want to talk about today, because today is going to be more like an introduction. In subsequent weeks, we're going to be, diving deeper into the game and doing the practical bits of, wealth generation and, just playing games. So, money actually grows on trees. But again, for there to be a tree, there has to be a seed. So money grows on trees. But how many people are willing to go out there and plant the seed that will grow the tree, that will grow money, right? And I think this has been a serious challenge, especially in Africa, where you see a lot of people, almost everybody, literally everybody wishes to be rich. Everybody wants to be wealthy. But it's oftentimes not the case because while everybody wants to be rich, not everybody actually puts in what is needed or knows what they need to do to even be that rich, that wealthy, as it were. So I will start out with talking about a couple of stories and events that had happened where I had taken my time to ask myself questions like, okay, so why do many people want to be wealthy and yet very few people emerge wealthy? Why do many people want to be financially free and yet very few people are actually financially free? Very few people have financial freedom like they so desire. And I come to realize that it firstly begins with, it begins with a mindset. You see, wealth and financial freedom is a thing of the mind. I remember when I told myself I was going to be financially free, I was going to stop borrowing, I was going to start doing this, I was going to start doing that. I realized that for me to do that, I had to cut off on certain things. I had to start feeding my mind with certain things. I had to stop feeding my mind with certain things, right? I had to adjust my life in order to be able to adjust my finances. And this is very, very key. So I'll start out with a couple of examples that I've seen, instances of people and things that I've seen around that has crippled people's tendency to grow financially or to have the financial freedom that they so desire. Number one, a mindset that believes that the universe is going to align eventually so that whatever will be is one of the major issues, one of the major things that is killing us Africans, right? When it comes to financial growth and when it comes to financial freedom. Yeah. So I was having a conversation. I mean, I literally went to buy something somewhere from a customer, someone who usually sells foodstuff to me. And I took a look at her. I took a look at her shop, and I just bursted. I said, I bursted out. I was like, "Yo, do you like yourself? Do you like everything that is going on with you right now?" She was like, "Why are you asking?" I'm like, "Are you comfortable where you are? Are you comfortable with what you have? Are you comfortable with what you are doing right now?" She said, "Of course not." I said, "Do you want to have more? Do you want to change your financial status? Do you want to change your financial status quo?" And she said, "Yes, I would like to. I mean, if I know of any way to go about it, I would really love to." And I said, "Okay, So what exactly are you doing towards, you know, getting this turnaround, this breakthrough financially? And she said, you know, nothing. I just believe that God is going to take control. So in Africa, we have this thing, this God factor, because I mean, Africa is a very religious place, right? Highly religious place. So people actually believe that you can be you can be anything that God wants you to be, and you should, and you cannot be anything except God wants you to be that thing, right? In other words, I mean, no matter how much I toil, if I'm going to be rich, if I'm going to be poor, it is in the hands of God, right? And so you hear Yoruba people's, for instance, Yoruba people saying stuff like, Oromi, Lowo Oluwa Lowa, right? In other words, my matter, my life, everything that concerns me is in the hand of God. In other words, He is the sailor, He is the captain of my life. He's the one who determines where, He's the one who determines what, He's the one who determines how and why, right? And of course, this kind of puts a question to me, and the question is very simple. If we are saying that our success is dependent on God, what about people who do not even believe in God? What about atheists, right? What about atheists who do not believe that God even exists, and yet they're doing financially well and even much better than people who so claim to know God or to have God or to believe that God is in charge of their life 100%? When I had a conversation with her, I realized that she kept leaning towards the fact that what will be will be. The universe is going to align. If it is God's will, I mean, my situation will change, my business will start booming, things will start working for me. Then I realized that, I mean, I remember a story, um, you probably find it online, where someone was praying and was saying, God, if you truly exist, I want to see you. So this person happened to be in the middle of the sea. The person's ship had literally capsized earlier, and the person was in the middle of the sea, and the person was asking God for help. I was saying, God, I need you to help me. I know that you're going to get me out of this situation. I know you will not fail me. I know you will not let me sink and die. And the person waited, and there was an helicopter, a chopper that was passing by, and the chopper, chopper realized that someone was, struggling for their life in the sea, and the chopper tried to offer some help, but the man said, "Don't worry, God is gonna help me. God is gonna save me," right? And then another ship passed by, and people noticed that he was drowning, and they offered to help, and he said, "No, don't worry. God is gonna come to save me. God is gonna come save me," and all. He got other help, but he kept saying, "God is gonna save me. God is gonna save me." Eventually, he died, and according to the story, he went to heaven. And he got to heaven, and he was telling God, "God, you so called exist, and you said that you're going to help. You said if we call on you, we ask you anything, you're going to be of help. Well, I asked you to save me, I asked you to rescue me, I asked you to deliver me, but you didn't. Instead, after waiting and waiting and waiting, I eventually died. Here I am now." And God said, "Anyways, you asked for help. I sent people. I sent a chopper, I sent a sheep, and you kept telling them God is going to come to my rescue. Did you think that I was going to come down literally and rescue you? I was going to send help in different ways." Where am I going with this story? I'm just trying to say that the number one crippling factor when it comes to financial freedom for many is mindset. So, what is the mindset that you have towards finances? If your mindset is totally wrong, you're very most likely to work harder than the most hardworking person and still remain poorer than the poorest person. Because really, making wealth or gaining financial freedom is not necessarily a function of hard work, it's a combination of a whole lot. There's a place of hard work, there's a place of smart work, there's a place of understanding the work itself and knowing how to do it and how to do it well or how to do it better, right? So people believe that I can do what I'm supposed to do, or I should do what I'm supposed to do, and hope that one day I will be promoted, hope that one day I will get so clients, hope that one day, when you leave everything to fate, FATE, right? And you keep saying what will be. What will eventually be is what you have designed it to be. I can't remember who quoted this, but I think it's a philosopher, and he said the best way to predict the future is by writing one. I'll repeat. The best way to predict the future is by writing it. So, if you want the future to be bright, if you want to attain financial freedom in the next 10 years, it is not a matter of wish, right? If you are predicting how rich you will be tomorrow, it is dependent on the plans that you have today. If you are predicting how many estates or how many what your net worth will be tomorrow, if you're trying to predict, the best way to predict it is by designing. I want to have so investment in 2025. I want to be worth so amount in 2030. When you write it down and then you follow it up with a plan, what happens is that by the time you are set to achieve it, so by 2030, if you want to be worth, for instance, $100 million, what will happen is that by 2030, because you had written it in 2024 and you had followed it up with a plan and followed that plan up with an action, what happens is that by 2030 you are exactly that thing that you said you want to be. And this is not a matter of magic, it's a matter of hard work. So what you put into it, you get out of it. So again, number one thing is having the right mindset, and the right mindset is this: it's a principle of seed. Money grows on trees, but it takes someone to plant the seed for this money to grow on trees. You can live in an economy that is down. You can live in an economy that is facing a very serious major crisis. And take, for instance, you happen to be a Nigerian currently living in Nigeria. One of the major things that you would realize is that the economy is pretty hard. Like, it is hard for every individual. But guess what? While everything is hard for every individual, it's not necessarily a function of how hard it is. It's a function of what you do with it, right? I was telling a partner recently, I was saying that, in this same economy that we are in, where people are saying that things are hard, some people are actually closing deals in millions. I mean, we literally experienced one recently who was talking about how he was either buying lands or selling lands, or buying lands or selling lands in this same economy, which is pretty funny, but very true. So first thing first, it's mindset. Where exactly is your mindset at as of now? Where is your mind right now? Is your mind on we're gonna leave it to chance, we're gonna whatever will be, or is the mindset based on, like Nigerians will say, Dangote Lori Meji? That is, the richest person in Africa does not have two heads. In other words, whatever he's doing is replicable. So I can replicate what he's doing. Question again: what is your mindset? Where do you stand? Right? So I'm going to round up with this. Today is basically talking about mindset and how that when you have a shift in your mind, you have a shift in your life. When you have a shift in how you see things, you will have a shift in how your account balance is. And it's as simple as that. There are no two ways to go about it. Mindset is one of the major things that cripples people, especially in Africa, when it comes to wealth creation. You heard this, or you believe this, or you grew up from a certain family and this is how you do things, or you probably do not have a business person in the family, so you grow up with parents who have lived their whole lives working for the government, or working for a private sector, but not necessarily having a certain business acumen, a certain business understanding, or nobody has been into business enough to tell you that one of the best ways to gain financial freedom is by starting a business, and by starting it this way. I mean, next week I'm going to be talking about failure as a major ingredient for cooking. Failure as a major ingredient for cooking success, right? I'm going to be talking about it next week. In the meantime, again, today is basically to remind you that your tendencies for success begins with, one interesting thing about this thing called mindset is that You can be here thinking that this is how things would be, and then suddenly you step into a different environment. Maybe take for instance, you have the privilege of being around Elon Musk, around Bill Gates, around Warren Buffett, uh, the Amazon guy, and the likes of them. You happen to be on that table, and all of a sudden, your cravings to be among the richest persons in the world just skyrockets, shoots to another level. Or you happen to spend a week or two with these people or with one of them. You look at their schedules, you look at their mindset, you can look at their thought pattern and their actions. There is no way you would not have a change of mind, or at least have an understanding of why successful people remain successful and why poor people remain poor, right? Or why people who fail. Yeah, so again, it boils down to mindset. So I would leave with this, or I'll close with this. Whatever it takes to continually shape your mindset towards wealth, towards financial liberation, towards financial freedom, invest as much in it as you can. Because there is nothing you're going to do that is beyond the way you see it. You cannot outdo, or you cannot do beyond, how do I put it now? You can't go beyond what you can see. So if what you can see is a kilometer, right, you can't go beyond it. And let's do a practical to show how that you can only go as far as you can see. Close your eyes right now and take like 10 steps. If you're in a free place, take like 10 steps. If you're in a room, take a step from your room to the other room. Or if you're outside, just take 10 steps, closing your eyes, and see if you can comfortably and easily take up to that 10 steps or more than that 10 steps. It goes a very long way to show that it's pretty difficult to go beyond what you can see. You can only go as far as you see. And what you see is what I define today as mindset. What you see, how you see it, will determine what you do and how you go about things, and ultimately would affect your finances. I hope that I made any sense whatsoever today, because I believe I actually did make sense. So, if this made any sense to you, which I believe it did, drop a comment and I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for today. I will see you next week. Until then, peace.